Hello, good evening. Welcome to edition 190 of the CantinaMX podcast. Glad to have you with us. We are live on YouTube as we will be moving forward on Thursday nights and then on special post-match nights coming up this summer. Have a lot of big plans to do some good soccer stuff this summer, so hopefully you guys will be along for the ride. My name is John Jagu. Very happy to be with you. Happy that you guys are joining us live here on our YouTube channel. Of course, for those of you that download this, subscribe to us on the podcast center on iTunes or on Google Play. We appreciate that, and thank you very much for joining us and listening to our podcast, wherever it is that you may be on this lovely blue-green planet. Joining me as always, at least recently, is Joel Aceves joining me from beautiful Orange County in Southern California. Joel Aceves, how are you, sir?
Greetings, John. I'm doing quite well.
Now, are you doing quite well, Joel? Because Chivas finally won a match for the first time since the dead of winter.
Yeah, they were on a 7-match winless streak. So over 2 months, not knowing the sweet taste of victory, while León was the opposite. 12 wins in a row. They set a record, a Liga MX record, and that's some praise for Nacho there. I still feel like he still hasn't gotten much,
Sure.
He hasn't gotten his due yet. Well, I hear that, because there's always that criticism how Mexican players or coaches, they don't go abroad and they don't bring anything new. But Nacho, actually, he was in Spain with Aguirre, with El Vasco Aguirre.
Right, he was his assistant in Pamplona and at Atlético de Madrid, so he was.
And he got to coach a few of those games when Vasco wasn't available due to suspension or other issues. But
right.
I mean, he spent a few years over there. So this guy just needed a break, and he finally got one. And I'm glad that he's doing well.
Yeah, he is, and there's no question that León has been the story of the season, and with the way that they play, with just a very, just a very fluid. If it doesn't work, then we'll try. We'll try something else.
Yeah.
They're not pressing. They're just being very patient, but they're controlling the ball very well. And they have a couple of guys that have scored a bunch of goals for them. They got one guy that scored 13, another guy that scored 8. And
yes,
when you score that many goals up top, that means that your team is playing very well.
Yeah, they're already guaranteed first place, and I think I think they also have the best defense. So best offense, best defense, and they guaranteed.
Well, Joel, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you know that there's no way that Sargento is going to allow a team to be as offensive as León is without playing any kind of defense. You know that he's going to stress
it
defense
is true.
first.
It is true. Sadly, though, Jon, I feel that he's, if he doesn't win the league, and it's like the teams like Tigres and Monterrey are like just, and even America are that much more stacked, and the saying, the Liguilla is a whole other tournament.
Right.
I feel he might not get as much credit if he ends up, and you've sort of done the prediction that the curse of the leader, that you expect them to be taken out in the first round.
Well, I don't expect it, but I mean, the sad thing
wouldn't be surprised.
Exactly. No one should be surprised by it.
No,
especially, I mean, what happens if León ends up having to play America as the 8th seed? Which is very possible.
It is, and then that would be a very tough game.
Now, I'm not saying that they can't beat America, because they drilled America earlier this year. They beat them 3-0, but that was America that was, at the first of this part of the season, a month after they just finished winning the title in the Liguilla, beating their one of their big rivals in Cruz Azul, and doing it with just emphatically. So they were, they weren't quite 100% at the time. They've gone obviously a little bit better. I'm not saying that Leon can't beat them, but I mean it's certainly. I think that Leon would rather take their chances against Puebla or Cholos, uh, uh, as much as America. But the reality is that in the Liguilla Hall, you just have to beat whoever's in front of you. Period. You have no choice. I mean, that's if you want to keep going, you just gotta take care of business, no matter who you playing. I'm sure that Leon has that. I put it at about 65% that Leon, and again, I only say that because historically, the eight seed has done fairly well in beating the number one seed in the. I mean, it's happened that more than half, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it happens a lot.
But it's true. But I think this Leon team, they have some very experienced players, players that have been with the big dance before, like Luis Montes, uh, and Cota, who was with Chivas, and he played all the finals with them. They have other guys down. Dude, they even have, I forgot about Joe Campo.
Right. No, I mean, obviously, it's a team that has a lot of talent, a lot of players that have played extremely well this season. Obviously, Angel Mena has been outstanding, as well as WJ
Mena,
Macias.
with Mena, no, not Mena. Yeah, Mena is pretty much probably MVP for the regular season.
Right.
Yeah,
But again, I
and
mean, they have two guys. Their starting forwards have scored 21 goals. Well, when
yeah,
your starting forward scored that many goals in a season, that means that you're playing very well. That means that you are making things happen for your. I mean, it's whatever it is that you're doing, it's working. And and it also goes to show, because sometimes teams score a lot of goals, but it's maybe like a lot of centrales, headers on set pieces. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but when your two puntas are the ones that are getting the goals, that means that your buildup is doing very well.
you
You're
you
finishing.
know though they will be missing JJ Mack, who was called to the Under 20 World Cup.
You know, and I know that people have a certain feeling about playing that. Everyone, it's a international tournament and they need to play it, and I get that. But if to me it is still a developmental tournament, and if you're a guy who's in that age level and you're already playing professionally, and you have been, and you've played. I mean, he's been a professional for 3 years now, right? Macias has had minutes for 3 years.
But I think this is his first full season, though. I don't think he had much
Well,
playing because he's just 19. He should have
right,
had more playing time, but you know how it is in Mexico.
right. But my point is that if you've already proven that, why on earth do you have to go to the U20? It's like it's like asking a guy who's been in the major leagues and has had a great year in the major leagues to go back and play the Double A World Series in September when they need him the most. Seriously.
well, well, yeah, but I mean León and more likely Grupo Pachuca, who runs León. Uh, so they have Macias on loan until December, and they have that option to buy clause, and so I think they want to give him that international exposure, that vitrina, and the hopes that he has a very good tournament, and then they're gonna, activate the transfer clause, pay the fee, which at 15 million, people thought it wasn't like there's no way they're gonna do that, and then sell him abroad. So that's the big rumor right now, and it's taking more strength
So they're gonna
with the
pay 15 million and then turn around and sell him for what, 20?
pretty much, and not even 15 because recently the whole talk about um, one of the one of the Pachuca players joining Chivas.
Right, Erika. See, that's like the
Yes,
one name in Spanish I can't pronounce.
Aguirre.
I can't make the I and the R at the top because you have to have your tongue at the very top of your mouth. And I just for whatever that is, I can't do it. You say it like it's no problem. You say, oh, it's like that's like Juan de Panagarico.
Oh,
It's
but
like
there's plenty words I can't though.
so. Yeah. But again, Joel, I mean that's after the season. Right now, when Leon needs him the most, I mean, we're honestly, if you're someone who has a keen interest in how this kid develops, where would you rather see him show hit the most? If he has the medal at a U20 tournament or in the Liga.
Yeah, no, it is. But I mean, it just goes to show how Liga MX is still not seen as that competitive. From some of the from abroad. Uh, I think it's just a bias in my opinion. Because I agree with you. He
Well,
shouldn't
but
have to
but but
go.
how but
He
how would people know abroad? Because they don't broadcast any of the games abroad. I mean, it is like as for a league to be considered top 10, which I would consider it a top 10 soccer league in the world, and no one watches it outside of Mexico and the U.S. I mean, good lord.
No, I agree. But if you're a scout, and I'm sure they do watch, but
If you
they're
were a
just
scout,
gonna
you'd,
they're
you'd
gonna
be
stick
dumb
to their
not to watch
guns.
Liga MX. You would be
Excuse
dumb.
me.
You would be dumb not to watch Liga MX
Yeah,
if you're a scout in charge of finding talent in this part of the world.
yeah. Especially how in recent years, the majority of talent going out has done good. It's not like going back like 20 years when they would take a player on loan and he would fail to break into the first team. Now you have players that they're key players now, like Chucky at PSV and
Right,
Jimenez at Wolves, and and even Chicharo, who he's good for a good number of goals, no matter the club he's at. He's
right.
gonna find the back of the net. So I mean, you have that in the that these players are of a good quality that you get your money back.
You do, and I think the one thing that at least for Chicharo Chukin, I guess a little bit for Raul, but maybe not as much for Raul. But they proved in Liga MX that they could play and play well.
Yeah, yeah. But going to the under 20, I mean, if you could outshine some of the other talents, like coming from some of the other hotbeds, like like Argentina,
Yeah,
Brazil, Belgium, what have you, if you have
right.
this guy outperform some of these. So I think that's part of it too. They're gonna see how he does or how he looks compared to some of the other guys in his age
Yeah,
group.
but again, to me, and if you've already played professionally, then to me, what's the point of going to the U20?
Well, just for that, the vitrina, just the showcase, and just to have it on your on your resume, golden boot or golden ball winner, what have you.
Right.
So Eric Aguirre is valued at 8 million.
How is he valued at 8
So
million?
I don't know. That's what they're that's that's what Pachuca values the 22-year-old. So they would only have to pay 7, which is I could see them doing that. So I mean, I think Chivas shot themselves on the foot again.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's quite a talent to lose.
Ay, Chivas with their so I mean, and it started with Chicharo, man. Chivas became a seller's market. Well, see that's the worst part about Chivas is that they sell their guys for next to nothing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they have to pay like double or triple the price to replace the guys they just sold.
No, I agree. I agree. It's just, I mean, poor management at the same time. Just
Well,
club being
it's
poorly
not poor
run.
management, Joel, if you follow the buy high and sell low strategy of making money.
Yeah, I don't know what book Higuera is reading, but yeah, not good for Chivas. Uh, but
Well,
then
I mean,
again,
could you imagine how? And again, I'm sorry for interrupting. Well, I'm sure that you probably imagine this quite a bit, Joel, when you're in the dark all by yourself. If Ricardo Peláez was running Chivas instead of Higuera, where he's not going after like the superstar guys, he's just getting guys that have played in Liga MX and have proven themselves and are decent. You might have to get a couple of hot shots, but I mean, you don't have to like just fill the roster, with every player that does any kind of thing on another team. Oh, he's Mexican. We got to sign
wait,
him up.
did you say La Volpe?
No, Peláez.
Elias? Okay, yes. Thought you said La Volpe. I was like, what? No, yeah, that's what it should be. But a big part is also it's also relying on their youth academy, and they've done a mess with that. They've tried revamping it so many times. Just recently, they had Michele Año talking about because
Oh no,
he's the one right now working it, and he was
you've
talking.
got to be kidding me.
Well, he was he was actually making sense. He's talking about what they're doing, uh, and one of the things that became apparent was how much it hurt the club when they sold Tapatio, because Tapatio was a second division team, and that's where they would send all the top prospects, and they would play at a good competitive level, and that's how they knew who was ready, and it made the jump to first division that much easier because second division is filled with a lot of former first division players.
Right.
I mean, for all of the, it might not get enough credit, but it's also it's not as bad
I
as people make
firmly
it.
believe that the U20 division should merge with the second division anyway.
Oh yeah, that
The
would be
U20 and the
good.
U20s can't, the U20s can't be promoted, obviously. Not that they ever would, but I mean, at least then that way they get much better competition.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree. But that's the one thing and Chivas did, and since then, they'll just have to rely with sending players to random teams, but these teams aren't obligated to play them. So I mean, yeah, you can send a top prospect, but if he's having a hard time breaking into the club, it's not going to do them that much help as if you were with Tapatio with your teammates, and you're getting the day in day out playing time because it's for the club's benefit. So yeah, that's the whole thing. But enough Chihuahua talk, man. They're they're out of Liguilla. They're facing Tigres, who's gonna be
We promised our fans that we would get a
I,
report from
that,
Chivas Crisis.
that that we wouldn't. I
No,
thought
we would. No, we would.
Chivas crisis. No, well, we have been. But I think this is a good segue because well, there's two things. We were talking second division, and right now, Dorados de Sinaloa, led by Maradona, they're playing they're playing Atlético San Luis,
Right.
and if San Luis wins, um, they
That
automatically get promoted. If
correct.
they lose,
They play
if
them all
they
over
lose, yeah, they have a playoff to see which team gets promoted. And yeah, this is Maradona's second final with the Dorados.
again. Yes, it is.
And in true Maradona fashion, I think they went one up on a handball. Well, a handball got called a penalty.
You know what I
Another
always found
hand of
interesting
God.
about Maradona is that he was. I mean, there was no. Obviously, he was a great player, though, an outstanding player. Just a yeah. But every time he touched the ball, he would be jeered and whistled. Just people just hated the guy. I mean, dead serious.
Well, it depends where he was at, because
Yeah.
Napoli, they love that guy. And same with Boca Juniors.
Well, sure, but I mean, everywhere else in the world, not so much. And yeah, I always found that interesting. As I was like, how could this guy be so polarized when all he's doing is play? It wasn't like he was like a jerk. It wasn't like he was just this outgoing jerk or anything like that. You know what I mean? He wasn't.
Yeah,
He wasn't really. Uh, he just didn't have a like this overly gregarious persona. And yeah, it was just weird to me that happened. I wasn't a big fan of his. I'll be honest. He was not my guy.
he was not.
Well, I mean, he in the '82 World Cup against Brazil, and I don't know if you've seen this. I'm sure you have. He they're down 3-0, and his Ardido just he's only like 21 at the time. Just got the better of him, and he just kicked this Brazilian right in the crotch. I mean, just a straight up like kick.
The dark arts there, John.
Well, it didn't work. I mean, it was. I mean, he got a straight red, and the referee who gave it to him was Mario Rubio, who was a Mexican ref. Didn't hesitate, man. Just pulled it right out, and it became so famous that he ended up making an American Express card commercial based, as a
We'll see, it worked out for him.
yeah, yeah. So I never really. He was. He just wasn't, for whatever reason. I couldn't, which is weird because I was an Argentina fan. I just could not get past him for some reason because of that. So I wasn't like I was hate watching him, but you know, I know that for someone who is an Argentine aficionado as you are, you're probably thinking, man, this guy's freaking crazy for not.
No, he's had his detractors. I get that from. He's always been a lot of controversy. That's why surrounded statements that he would make, and just some of the stuff he got into. So no, I could see why he's never as likable as some of the guys now, like you see with Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi and some of those other guys.
Yeah. Although I would not hesitate to take the position that I think Cristiano Ronaldo was a bigger jerk than Maradona ever was. But the difference is that you heard about Maradona being a jerk, once every 2 or 3 weeks, whereas now you see Cristiano being a jerk, 24/7.
Yeah,
So you
social media.
desensitized to it. But anyway, we should. Yes. So if San Luis wins this tie, then they're automatically promoted, and the chances are very high. And because of that, they have the certification to be a first. Both of these teams do. So a team is going to come up, but Veracruz can still pay their $6 million or whatever it is to stay in the first division.
Yeah, and the league will go up to 19 teams.
Right. Well, I mean, ultimately, what the league wants to do is they want to go to 20.
And they also want to.
I just don't think that Veracruz should be one of the teams that come with them to 20.
Yeah,
At
they're
least,
trying to. Well, they're trying to force Goody to sell the team.
right.
But Goody's like, he's not going down without a fight. He was just fined recently for talking about the bar being misused. Uh, he was deducted like 6 points by
Yeah,
FIFA.
they have 0 points right now.
They have 0 points.
Not even Atlas has ever had a 0 point season.
he denounced Santos. So I think he's taking Santos to court. He
I mean,
said
he has
Iñárritu sold him a defective player, and they owe him money. So it's a big mess, and they're trying to get him to just leave. I mean, and I think he's having problems with some of his players because he owes them money.
right. Well, here's the a perspective from Cudi. Now, I don't Cudi's not a good guy. He not the kind of owner that this incarnation of Liga MX wants to have. And I think that's his big bitch. Is that he's like you guys are acting like you're
Yeah,
or for lack of a better term, reformed whores. All of a sudden, none of this is good enough for you when it was
but,
perfectly
but
fine last. You know what I mean?
yeah, Cody's a remnant of old Liga MX.
Exactly. But the old Liga MX ended in 2017. So let's be honest
Yeah,
about
no,
the truth.
well, that's one thing I want to talk about later because yeah, that league is changing a lot, uh, and I feel it will ultimately become a five-team league. But yeah, it's been changing throughout the years. That was a big part of why they went from Primera División and got rebranded to Liga MX, and then they've started to promote like the Copa MX, and they're trying to to do some type of international tournament with MLS. And recently, I think one of the Brazilian newspapers reported about talks, uh, for Liga MX teams to return to Libertadores.
Hey, Joel.
So,
The
oh,
Commonwealth.
it's Ron.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
God dang, it's yeah. Ron shows up. He's like the
So, boys, how you doing, gentlemen? Well, keep in
as,
mind that Commonwealth president already said that they're just trying to wrap up the details.
yeah.
So I think it is going to happen, and I'm glad that it's going to happen.
Well,
It needs to happen.
well, I'm glad Ron is here because this is Ron something mentioned a while back, and he was saying how Liga MX was going to become a billionaires club, and I do see it heading that way, and that's why like the goodies and even the Lobos Buap, they're going to get filtered out pretty soon.
I've been saying it for a long time. The writing is on the wall. There's gonna be a merger between MLS and Liga MX to maybe not a one full league, but it's going to be very very tied at the hip. And like when you're seeing clubs in the MLS that they're like just to get into the game. I mean they're having to pay what's the fee now? What 200 million, something like
It,
It
that.
it,
was
like
yeah,
two or three
So
bills, yeah, and then
so
and then and then
so
Cudi has to pay six.
6 million. No,
so
it's
like
yeah.
so I don't see I see relegation and promotion being, in the near distant future. I do see it gone because, I mean, if you're paying that much, they're going to use the NFL model. And let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the whole Liguilla, and this goes back to, Billy Alvarez, Cruz Azul's dad. I mean, the whole reason he wanted the Liguilla because he wanted it to model after the NFL. And this goes back towards the 60s.
Yeah, because the first Liguilla was I want to say it was the summer
Right
of
after.
either before the World Cup or right after it. One of the
Right.
two.
Yeah. It was right after the. In fact, America won the first, Liguilla against Toluca, quote unquote, and that was right after the and that was what. So yeah. So I mean, I just think that the writing's on the wall, man. I just think that it's going to change, and whether I don't know if it's good or bad. Because I mean, on one token, you see the NFL, and you see just how successful, and you see how just the money
Well, I
it
mean, let's
generates.
not pretend it's just Liga MX. I mean, how many other soccer leagues now are becoming billionaires clubs?
Yeah, I mean the fact that outside the big four in Europe, I mean the one that generates the most interest really is Liga MX in terms of attendance. So I mean,
Yeah.
there is money to be made there, and I think, and there's going to be a point. There's going to be a point where, and this is one thing that I probably don't agree with on a personal level, but I do think that it's going to be a billionaires club, and I do think that it's going to be there's going to be a significant amount of foreign ownership in Liga MX too, which I'm not. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I really would want that. I don't. I would hate. I would hate. Like who's the team? The one. What was it? Arsenal that when they went to the Champions League, they didn't have one Englishman. It was just.
Well, when they won the last EPL title in 2004, they won it with not one Englishman on the pitch.
So I do think that's probably going to be one of the negative aspects of it, but like I think the writing is on the wall that it's going to happen.
Yeah, you already have the two clubs that we're seeing right now, and they're getting made fun of because the fans consider them grandes, and it's obviously the two Monterrey teams.
Yeah.
They just played the CONCACAF Champions final, but you know what? In the last 10 years, they've made the Liga MX final 9 times, having won it 6 times, 4 for Tigres, 2 for Monterrey. I mean, that's pretty consistent.
Well, and
right
it's not
there.
just that. They've also played in, 7 Conca Champions finals because Monterrey's won 4 and Tigres they've lost 3.
But
and the last we won the last Libertadores was Tigres. So I mean, but those, speaking of billionaire clubs, that right there is FEMSA
and Cemex.
And Cemex. Those are huge companies worldwide.
Yeah, I know. I mean, at one point, Cemex was they're always fighting for the 1 or 2 spot in the cement industry.
Yeah. So then Televisa's right up there too. I would put them. That's 3 teams. That's why I could see it becoming like a 5-team league. I could see Chivas, but with a different owner. I've heard Comex might come in, or maybe Slim. I know Slim wants to get his hands on that.
Well, Joel,
hang on,
I got a second, Joel. Are you preparing a bid to outbid Carlos Slim, Joel?
No, I don't have enough shekels, man. I have a layaway.
You have. Can you buy the team on layaway?
Probably,
but on layaway?
Like 5th generation from now, if soccer's no longer like a main sport, it's something else. Actually, there's a group right now. There's a group of former players and some money people from Guadalajara that they want to buy Chivas. They're trying to do a socio thing, pull their money together and buy the club. But I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I'm pulling an old article from '99 from La Jornada, and I've showed this article before because this is I remember one of the first articles that I ever read about like the type of money that the Liga MX generates and the type of money that they're spending. And keep in mind, this is 1 year after.
Wait, Ron, I have the Citadel music. Hang on one second. I have the Citadel music.
El América es una mierda.
Oh, that was the wrong button. I did that again. Man, I must have replaced it. Sorry, please continue, Ron.
So like 10 year, 20, or basically 20 years to the date, right? And like, for example, Club América, propiedad de Televisa. Atlante, Televisa. Necaxa, Televisa. Then you have Morelia, which is and it gives all the names of the owners and stuff like Azteca. Then you have Toros, and it was the owner was basically a businessman that dealt with milk dairy products. Then you had like Atlas,
Mr. Alpura.
Alpura, yeah. So you had Atlas, which at the time they were nonprofit. And you had
they were the last club.
The club still ran the team.
Well, technically, Cruz Azul is still run as an AC, if I'm not mistaken. Because they're the Deportivo Social y Cultural Cruz Azul. So I think technically but they work as a cooperative. So 20 years ago. So then you had Promotora for Chivas, and the guy was Salvador Martinez. He was huge shareholder, I think, in Nextlube, which is
Yeah.
kind of ironic, don't you think? Mexlube.
Oh,
Sorry.
You still want to show me your
well,
cucumber?
Ron,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
just to go on that, the other family that was involved with that was Aleaños,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
owned Tecos,
Right.
and Max Lube, the guy's son,
Yeah.
because Max Lube was caught in a scandal, man, huge scandal. Guy was stealing all type of funds, but his son owns Akron.
Yeah.
He's like the CEO, which is still lubricant, and that's the Chivas Stadium right now.
So then you had Promotora from León, which the owner was Cermeño, and he was
Yeah.
basically he owned a lot of discotheques in Acapulco. So then you had let's see, Toros Nesa. There was an owner, Arofin. You had Monterrey, who at the time was a non-prof, served as an AC.
Wait, wasn't it Jorge Lancambeu had bought them?
Not at for Monterrey.
Yeah, Rayados, and then he was laundering money for one of the cartels. He had
From my knowledge, the one that took over Monterrey was the basically Zambrano. They were like big time Banamex. They were all into that type of money. And at that time they did at the time, actually, believe it or not, Zambrano had a kind of like a stake in both Tigres and Monterrey because he because of the actions that he had with Banamex. But that was kind of like around the time where Cemex basically went with Monterrey and they set up this administrative board with Sinergia Deportiva to overlook basically to administer and support the Tigres. At this time, 20 years ago, Pachuca already had Jesus Martinez. Then Puebla had Bernat, and he had a lot of shares in Pepsi Cola. Laguna basically was getting supported by Modelo, but back then Puebla was also 20 years ago was also a nonprofit. So you had Guadalajara was also a nonprofit, and you had Pumas that were also a nonprofit.
Well, didn't Volkswagen have a stake in Puebla back then?
Puebla, Volkswagen had a lot of. They have a huge presence in the state of Puebla.
Right.
So there's always been, for as long as I can remember, there's always been that association that Puebla had with the team, but yeah. So I mean, I'm just looking at the ownership groups of 20 years past, and I'm like, there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams were still were basically operating as a non-for-profit operation, like a club in a sense.
A treehouse gang.
So I mean, it even in 20 years, dude, it has changed a lot. I mean, it's changing, and there's more money involved. And like I told you, Joel, it's going to be a billionaires club, and in some regards, it's already a billionaires club. So like I said, I don't know that's good or bad, but it is what it is.
No, yeah, I feel that fans are not gonna care, like especially with like getting rid of relegation. I know there's a lot of pushback right now.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it is romanticism. It's like kind of hypocritical to be a Liga MX fan and then like care about relegation when it's been a joke for years.
But here's the other side here's the other side of that argument. Okay, so like I think the MLS, I think they want to have like 30 something markets, right? Kind of like the NFL in the sense that there's just a lot of teams in one league, and it's basically, and you see teams all over the US, right? Well, in a way, both you and I know that right now Mexico doesn't have enough teams for to have like what is it? There's 18 teams in Liga MX, and I think what is it? There's 16 in Ascenso, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Is it that many? I don't think it was that much.
Yeah,
I thought it was
something like that.
12. It used to be 24.
Yeah, 24. So right. I mean, right now you don't have enough ownership groups, independent and autonomous, to have to really have a true, promotion and relegation. And that's one of the reasons why, people, when you still, when Chivas, America, Cruz Azul, and America, there's a reason why they're still the big four, because, I mean, you go to Tampico, you go to Puebla, you go to Veracruz, you go to other places and stuff like that. How many times have those those fans been let down with the ownership groups?
Tampico Madero just got, they just descended to second division.
Yeah. You know who actually administers that group?
But second is third division, right, John?
Yeah.
Right.
But you know who administers Tampico Madero? My favorite Liga MX exec, the guy that wears the plastic. Yeah, I forget the name of his group, his business group, but it's some Basque name or something. I forget what it is, but basically they're the ones that are taking care of that or that administer that group over there in Tampico Madero.
Well, they're doing a hell of a job.
Hell of a job, yes, they are. But that goes back to my point that right now, Liga, Mexican football, it doesn't really have a true football pyramid because you don't have enough ownership groups to basically have
right.
30
there's like 100 third division teams or
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I guess to the argument to the thing is, well, if you take away the promotion, promotion relegation, and let's say that from the TV deals, and let's say that all of a sudden the Liga MX start to see a little bit more wisdom and say, what, I think it's better off, if the TV money, and it's kind of like the NFL, where they every team gets a pretty, it's a parity in terms of because how that, not all teams get the same amount of money, TV money in Liga MX.
Well,
So,
yeah, I think that.
So let's say they started to do that. Let's say they started to do that, and you started to have more confidence, and more ownership groups started having more confidence and basically more assurances that they're not gonna. Because I think I think it was the dude from Atlanta that said that when a team goes down to the second division, basically 80% of their revenues are gone. So and there's no parachute, there's no there's nothing to basically keep them solvent once they're in the lower division. So if you take away let's say the promotion relegation, and you actually do have that franchise model, kind of like the NFL. I think I said, well, maybe that's what needs to happen, so you could have 30 viable, or even 25 viable ownership groups spread across the Republic in Mexico, because I don't think it's going to happen the way it is with promotion relegation, because it, and unfortunately Liga MX sometimes they just worry about the short term. And they have to, but they're not able to see long term. And I think that maybe going to the NFL model, I think that may be the solution to establishing more viable franchises. Like I said, I mean, they're both models. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I think both of them have unique things to offer, because obviously promotion relegation, it offers there's a athletic Darwinism, people that if you're not a smart administrative group and stuff like that, you're going to pay the consequences, and I see value in that. But I also see value in giving investors assurances that that they'll be able to spend their money, and that they'll be able to see some returns, both in the short, middle, and long term. So like I said, I wouldn't be solely opposed to not having relegation and stuff like that, and having growing other markets. Like, for example, I mean, for the life of me, I don't see how Tampico doesn't have a first division team. Knowing I've lived there and stuff like that, and I know that how much people love soccer there and stuff like that, and they've been screwed. They've been screwed over. Time and time again by different ownership groups, not being serious,
or just the fact that we can't say La Jaiba Brava.
Yeah, I know.
Regularly
I think that
is enough to be upset about that.
I've always said that Pumas and like in the Jaibos have some of the coolest logos, But yeah, but it's like I said, it's just amazing. Like looking at this and seeing just 20 years how much Liga MX has changed, and the money that is, and just the amount of money that's involved now.
Well, they've always spent money, Liga MX. It's not like.
Oh yeah.
But and it's only gonna increase for Liga MX. Now, let me ask you this: so, if you think so, then there would be no promotion, relegation. So, what happens to the lower division teams at that point, or does they just go away? Because how on earth are those teams going to feed them? How are those teams going to then acquire the players? Because it's not like they have the NFL, has a minor league system that they don't have to pay for with college football.
True, and high school,
Yeah, sure.
Honestly,
subsidized by the government and by
yeah. I honestly I think that if they were to go to the NFL model of the franchises, I think the way they like, let's say you have 20 markets, right? I think that they would try to do what the MLS does right now. Is like basically once there's a market that wants to be a part of it, you dish out 100 million or whatever. And that's how you grow. That's how you get the game into Tampico. That's how you get the game into.
Well, you need to find committed, serious owners that have are steadfast in their belief that they're going to be there for 30, 40 years.
Yeah,
and they're going to have the stadium and the infrastructure and everything, and then you need serious people for that. And there are plenty of serious people in Mexico, plenty of serious people with a lot of money. There's money in Mexico all over the country.
Of course.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I guarantee I would be willing to bet that you're also going to see ownership groups from Chicago, from Miami, from LA, from Houston that are going to want to invest in those markets as well, because I honestly do see foreign ownership in Liga MX in the near future.
Right.
Well, we've had sort of De La Peña Eye Clinic. Based in LA. They own a stock of Celaya.
Yeah.
Which is, they were probably from there, but still it came from, it was coming from the US.
There's been Spanish Spaniard groups that have
Atlético San Luis.
Yeah, Atlético San Luis, Celaya and stuff like that. So I mean that.
And Atlético Español.
Yeah, Atlético Español. They were and stuff like that. So I mean you have had it, but I'm thinking that more along the lines.
You're thinking oil money, Ron?
I'm thinking I am. I'm thinking I'm thinking
Qatar.
I'm thinking Qatari. I'm thinking Chinese. I'm thinking stuff like that.
Guangansu.
I'm even thinking.
Guangansu Águilas.
I'm even thinking South America. Because of the proximity to like LA and to Miami and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, I see it in the foreseeable future.
Well, and you know what? That's whole thing we're talking about. That's why like in CONMEBOL, that's why they want the MLS and Mexican teams.
Yeah,
because they know they don't have that many markets like Venezuela and Ecuador and Bolivia. They don't really bring in any money.
No. Remember Santander? There was an article. Santander at the time.
I remember that. The Banco.
Specifically said, one of their execs specifically said the reason that they wanted it in this is to attract the Mexican market, because they know that once they get the Mexican market, the U.S. Hispanic market ensues. It follows.
Yeah,
So so yeah, because
that's when they sponsored. Just for reference, that's when Santander was sponsoring the Libertadores, and Mexican clubs were threatening to leave.
So
And the exec from Santander was like, "Hey, man, this."
but that to me was bitter. That was bittersweet because I loved covering Interliga. You know, I loved
Yeah, it was
going. I
fun.
loved there were fun matches, dude. I mean, they used to go to my alma mater, University of Houston Robertson Stadium, and I used to go there cover those games. And then when it turned into Interliga, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, these were games. These weren't quote unquote Molero games. These games meant something. I mean, because it was a ticket. It was a ticket to basically to
Yeah, the
play
biggest
against the
cup
Venezuela.
tournament.
play the
Yeah.
Champions League.
No,
Yeah, Libertadores.
he said to play. Ron was saying to because before the Mexican teams would play against each other, and then the
Yeah,
winners would play against the Venezuelan teams
yeah.
because it was the Venezuelan spots that were up for grabs.
If I recall, I think I still have some of my press credentials from the Copa Sears pre Libertadores.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I told you once that like I remember who was it this like it was Pumas, America, Atlas, and I forget, and I think I think it was Monterrey who were playing that day, and I remember, dude, Horacio Sanchez, dude, so many people wanted to go see this kid play because they thought that he was going to be the next Hugo Sanchez. Well, obviously, is
he,
the nephew
he
of
did
Hugo Sanchez.
he did do the flips like him.
Yeah, so I mean, he attracted a huge crowd. I remember.
Yeah, that kid disappeared. Like he had a few moments, and then all of a sudden he's just gone, dude.
So
Yeah.
if they play the Libertadores, because they still have to play the Conca Champions, they can't get out of that. So is the Libertadores now going to be? Is it going to replace the Sudamericana? And they're going to play the Libertadores in from July to December, and then play the Sudamericana, South American exclusive in the second half of the year.
I'm not sure. I'm not.
Because that's the only way it's going to work.
Well, the fact that you don't have Warner and Blazer, I think right now
Yeah, but there's you can't strap CONCACAF like that. You just can't do it. You can't screw your own confederation to play in someone else's tournament. And let's face it, the way that they have the iteration of the CONCACAF Champions right now, so where it doesn't start until the second half of the season.
mhm.
That's there, so it frees them up to play the first half of the season.
Well, I think it might just be like it was before, where the top Liga MX teams go to CONCACAF, and
Oh,
then
no,
the
I
bottom
understand
the
that. I
bottom
understand
one.
that. But what I'm saying is, because they play the CONCACAF Champions in the second half of the season, then who made the CONCACAF Champions for next year? It's already Cruz Azul and America. Well, you know what? They can still play the CONCACAF Champions, and guess what? If they play the Libertadores in the first half of the season, guess what other tournament they can play? The Libertadores.
My concern is Copa Mexi. How's this gonna
Well, I mean, like you said, it's only going to be a couple of teams that are playing the Libertadores. So
Yeah.
if you're playing the Libertadores, you're not playing Copa MX.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. You're just not going to play it that year. Or you play with a sub-20.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time that America played 5 games in 8 days?
Yeah, they're grueling. They're grueling Copa Libertadores.
Pretty much every time you're
travel
here, Ron.
schedule, where they had to go to Morelia.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
I think
Still.
Ron has that tattooed on his head, man. He has the fechas right there, tattooed on the forehead.
Like Colombia,
Oh,
so
that-
like an hour and a half flight.
It is impressive, though. It is. I could give him that.
So yeah, no, but no, it's gonna be interesting what Bonilla and John DeLusa do in terms of like calendar, setting up the calendar.
Yeah, well, to me, if the Libertadores happens, it has to happen from the late summer to the end to from July to December.
Hey, quick question. I'm reading on Twitter here. Jose Luis Higuera is no longer the GM.
Did it just get bounced?
It says right here. What is it? Elmore. In fact, let me retweet it.
Oh man, he has me blocked. But let me see.
What did you do? What did you do?
Hey, I called him out before it was cool to call him out, man.
Okay.
I reminded him of his Americanismo because he's Águila by heart, man.
Hold on. Let me search his name right now.
Joel, did you post? Did you post this video, Joel, for him to remind him of who he really is?
Oh yeah, here it is, man. We don't have sirenas, but
hang on.
It's all over the place.
It's El Salvador Perez. A lot of people are saying, are right now tweeting, that he basically lost.
All right, go ahead.
All right, as a 2 minutes, there's looking at a Registro Público Comercio from SC. Let me retweet this. All right.
And the sad thing is that this is overshadowing San Luis's equalizing goal that they got in the.
You know what? They're tweeting the official document of him getting sacked.
Yeah. And it says here that he's no longer. Oh man.
He's
lost legal and administrative authority over the team. So
Amauri took a spot.
Is there any way that do you guys have that image of the one that Chiquis always posts of Higuera basically making the motion with the two hands, like showing the niveles? you know that image he always posts, making reference to a phallic size,
Do you still want to show me your cucumber?
Where is Chiquis, man? By the way, where is it?
Apparently, he's stuck somewhere. he's in the quantum realm between Dallas and Austin somewhere. Is where Chiquis is right now. So, Joel, is this worthy of hearing gente?
It is.
It's a.
Can you play the one with Elvis? Can
Which
you play
one?
the one with Elvis?
Elvis in Acapulco. He's in Acapulco, but he sings Guadalajara.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You got the touch.
I'm the star.
You got the power.
There's two songs though of I got you got the touch. The original Transformer song, and then the Marky Mark version for Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights.
You got the touch.
Yeah, that's they went to fight Unicron. Don't ask how I know this.
Patileche y galletas para todos.
John always making a mockery of my childhood.
So man, dude, so what do you think about this? Joel? Are you liking this?
I am, but then there's also the talk that they're selling the club, so it might not even matter, Because if they sold the club, it was going to be gone anyways.
You know what's going to happen, Joel? Cheto Leaño is going to become the new GM.
I don't, because there was talk that they were going to bring.
Which makes me wonder if the Leaños are just going to buy the team straight up.
Well, no, if there's a socio group, they might be part of that group. But there was talk of the former Monterrey.
Why would the Leaños even care about a socio group?
Well, because they're big. They're Guadalajara family. They're one of the.
Well, I understand that exactly. So why would they want to join up when they can just?
Because it's a lot of money, man. It's if they wanted to.
Dude, you don't think they have a lot of money?
Yeah, but then if that was the case, they would have about Atlas or Leones Negros or what have you. I just don't think they
They're
want
just
to.
holding out. Okay, which of those three teams, Joel?
No, well, yeah.
If you were a Guadalajara team and looking to buy, which of those three teams do you think might be the most attractive of the three?
Obviously Chivas, but I mean, if you're gonna compete, well, I do think they have money. I don't think they have FEMSA money.
Well, maybe this is when Joel Aceves shakes off the self-loathing, steps in and helps out. Then it'd be the Leaño Aceves partnership group to buy Chivas.
Wait, give me 1 second, gentlemen.
Uh-oh. Joel, let's get his checkbook out. He's gonna do some calculations.
Hello?
Yes, Joel.
No, I'm back.
All right.
I'm back. Yeah.
So I was asking, are you gonna do you're gonna do your like shake off the self-loathing and join Leaño and the Leaño Aceves. Actually, I will be the Aceves Leaño partnership group to buy Chivas.
No, because it's Leaños, the Garzas, and then even the De La Torres would go into that.
If that happened, Joel, would you bring in Profe Cambarrayas?
No. He can stay in Pachuca. No, but there was talk that Luis Miguel Salvador, who was the GM at Monterrey, he's one. But now with Higuera gone, that opens the door for Nestor. So who knows, man? Who knows? Look at Ron cracking up. He must be looking at some funny images.
No, I'm cracking up at Faitelson. he posted, let me see, he's posting something about Bielsa. He says, hoy está muy fresco lo de Bielsa, pero aquellos que piden con desesperación que Dorados debió haber fallado el penalti porque no era mano. Les recuerdo la semifinal de la Copa Oro del 2015 y el penalti ante Panamá. ¿Acaso le exigieron al Piojo Herrera juego limpio? And you can imagine the comments. Fresca te quedó la quijada cuando me sale. No, this is my favorite. This is I haven't heard this one. He says, nadie se acuerda de la Copa de Oro, David. Sin embargo, todos recordamos cuando nuestro inmortal espalda curva no falló.
La curva. Oh, man.
These guys get more creative, man.
There's so many names for Cuauhtémoc, el Tlataoni, el Jorobado, goddamn, man.
El Paladín.
The one, el picador de la Galilea. It's one of my favorite ones.
Yes. He was with Galilea Montijo for a while.
o el ex huelepedos de la Galilea. It's a personal favorite of mine.
You know what? Someone can make a coffee book.
Yeah, maybe we should.
But you gotta have the references because some people might not know who Galilea is or certain stuff, and just put side pictures of like you know like the VH1.
Yeah.
They would do the pop-ups.
Yeah.
to give you additional info about like the video or whatever.
Yeah. But one of my all-time favorites is El Hombre con la Mochila Eterna, the one with the eternal.
That's
backpack.
the one I was trying to remember, La Mochila. Yeah.
No, sorry, I digress because I'm looking for more Higuera news.
So Nestor is now back in the picture. Do you think that Nestor was the one who
is he
was jalando palancas to make this happen?
I don't think he's jalando palancas, but I think they've always been in the picture. I mean, they're tied with the club, and they just have, they just have all these connections to all the families around there because just how long they've been there. So I never saw them being completely out. It's just a matter of time. The North remembers type of thing. I would say he's an option, definitely. And why wouldn't you want him?
Would he hire his brother back?
I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility. He hasn't been working, but Chihuahua fans, man, they're so volatile. Who knows, man? You're not gonna please anyone.
What happens? What happens, Joel, to Chivas fans if Tomas Boy gets it going, and they have a 27, 28, 29-point win season next year, and they're playing well. They're playing like Leon did this season. Had a string. Do Chivas fans do they forgive Boy for whatever it is that he's done wrong to them?
I don't think Boyd did anything wrong. I mean, he was with Atlas. He helped fend off relegation when he was at Atlas.
Well, then why do most Chivas fans just abhor Tomas Boy?
It's just the whole image thing. They just saw another type, a bigger. He's not seen as a big name coach. That's something that they were expecting. Someone with more more success.
Would they gonna bring the special one down?
Special one?
Yeah.
No, but someone like Buse, at least.
Hey, Joel.
Yes.
Apparently, the document states that from the 26th of February of this year, he has, legally, he's no longer the.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
They must have been letting him in. Because he had a lot of dealings with the club, so they were probably just letting him close out his deals. And that could probably mean the other guy will be gone soon. Varela.
Yeah.
So Mauri's doing it his way then. He's gonna bring in his people.
Yeah, well, he was tied. He was tied with Higuera because they were working together for a long time, and even there was news that even Mauri got into it with Almeida. They almost went around a fisticuffs right before the game against Toronto.
Shit, dude.
Fisticuffs?
Yeah, they almost got in a fight.
So we would have had an honest to goodness Chiva contra Chiva, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Unidos y
pretty much.
divididos. Wow.
No, and you know what? But I think if you are trying to sell that club, just to get us just so toxic. The fans just hate him so much. I think that's one dude you just need to get rid of, He's
Well, but who do you bring in?
He's like having Harvey Weinstein.
Who do you bring in, though?
Me Too movement, huh?
But who do you bring in?
For what? For
Just
GM?
just to change the
the image. Well, yeah, that's why. I mean, there was talk of Luis Miguel Salvador who helped, with Monterrey, and then Nestor's always been there. I think he's always been an option. Those are like two of the bigger names I could think of. I don't know anyone else that could step in right now.
But don't you think? I mean, it would just be recycling the same people.
Yes.
But for GM, like who would you get though? Because I mean, Nestor does have a good track record with Chivas. It's not like he ran him to the ground. They were highly competitive under his, when he was in charge.
Do you think? I mean, if it's true that Vergara Senior is no longer going to have a more hands-on approach, which I think is a good thing. Which I think he wore. I think because I mean, Vergara, when he came on, took over the club and stuff like that. How long ago now?
2002.
2002. Yeah, I mean So it's a while. I mean, he brought an extra element of with the whole crap shit talking the publicity stunts and all that type of stuff. What's that?
He was WWE Attitude Era.
Yeah. So I mean,
Well, you know what? Nestor was part of that team.
yeah.
He was with that from the takeover. He was from the onset of that.
Joel, was
But
Nestor the GM when they won their title when Buffalo scored that goal in Toluca? Was GM was Nestor the GM at the time?
I'm pretty well. He left to the national team,
Well,
so
that
I
was
don't
not till
know.
'09.
Yeah, so I think he was. Yeah, he was.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but when he was there, you never heard any problems of we can't bring in players or people are selling three times because they brought in Carmona, they brought in Bofo, they brought in Palencia, they brought in a bunch of players that were
but keep in
seleccionados.
but keep in mind this is also the same Vergara that says, "Hey, I'm not going to prostitute this jersey," and then next thing you know,
Oh, wait, but now
next
we're talking about Vergara, man.
yeah.
I was talking
Uh,
about Chepo, man.
okay,
I mean,
all
not
right.
Chepo, Nestor.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he did. He turned it turned into something else. But
Well, Joel, just how deep does the De La Torre route grow in CD Guadalajara? I
man,
mean,
well, I mean,
how far back? How far back is
they
the relationship?
they've been involved with Chivas over 80 years, almost as long as the club has been around, and they've had a hand in at least 8 campeonatos where they was like from Javier and all the other family that has been there as players. It's a big family, man. But yeah, they're royalty, man. They just don't get treated as such. They're like the ousted Targaryens.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they like the ousted Targaryens?
You know how they ended up losing they lost they lost the King's Landing, and then
Oh, well, because
they
Nestor
had to
went
be
crazy.
they're like in exile.
Nestor and Chepo went crazy, and that was that. Se acabó.
They
They
didn't go
went
crazy
they went
though, not like
bananas.
that. No, Higuera took over and fired them. He was trying to ban Nestor from going in the stadium because Nestor works for Univision,
I mean,
and he didn't want him to go in and do some of the play-by-play, the commentary. Uh, but he couldn't because that dude owned a palco too, so he, he really couldn't ban him. And then the contracts with Univision and whatnot.
Chivas. Don't make me laugh.
Hey, but this has been too much Chivas talk, man. We wanted to talk about the final.
oh, we haven't even got.
I
We've
know,
been
but
on for
this
for how long now?
That's
Oh,
what I
hour
said,
and a
man.
half.
I was trying.
We haven't
The
talked
one
about the final.
Chivas guy here was, uh, but Monterrey finally won. They spent a lot of money. They spent 15 million for Mesa, the Argentine midfielder, and I think there's a clause for 2 more million. I don't know what the clause is. It could be goals scored or games played. So that's about 17, you know. And then they bought Pizarro, and that's another like 15, 17. And then they brought in Layun, who even if his transfer wasn't that high, you know he's commanding high wages. So you gotta add, he was worth at least 10 million between transfer and wages minimum. I mean, Katang, that's just a lot of money. So I was pretty sure they were going to win something. Uh, that's why we're going to say right now, Tigres, Monterrey, the financially big clubs right now. They're the financially grandes. Got the deep pockets.
The money teams right now.
Yeah, and both of these teams, they could very well meet again in the Liguilla.
They could meet and they could they could meet in the final again, depending on how it Plinko's out. But yeah, there's no
Yeah,
question. I mean, they're both going to be in it. Uh, I mean, Tigres is in second place. Monterrey's in third place. I mean, if it wasn't for Leon having the crazy season that they're having, these guys would be first and second place.
hey, it's true. And Guignac is recovering. He did not play the full game. I'm pretty sure Castuca wants to save him for Liguilla. And he had that golazo, man. He scored this scissor kick that was just something else, worthy of replays.
I cannot understand why they wouldn't play him for 90, knowing how much he and showing how much he dominated that game. That you didn't want that for 90. I mean, I don't know if he was match fit or not, but I mean, come on, you play him out there till he's dragging, and even when he's dragging, he's still gonna, be better than anything else you can put out there.
I doubt Tuca will make that mistake for Liguilla.
But I mean, how can you make that mistake?
I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? He could have been having fatigue or slight injury. Who knows? I mean, they're not going to tell a lot of times.
Yeah, and on top of it, I'll mention Yak was. I mean, he was crazed. He was playing like he was. He was under some spell. I mean, he was so determined to win to try and win that match last night. It was. He almost lost his edge a few times. It was interesting. It was interesting to watch.
Well, and the bad news for Tigres though. I mean, for Monterrey, the bad news is that there is no Clubs World Cup. There will be no match in December. It's on hiatus until 2021 because FIFA wants to revamp the tournament.
Right. What they want to do is make it a 16-team tournament. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds nice, but I don't know. I'm not happy with them taking away the Confederaciones because that's the one thing they're talking about. Replace Confederaciones, and that was a legit tournament that Mexico has, and if they get rid of it, it's like it sort of takes some of that luster from our Copa, man. How dare they, John?
Oh, to take the boleto away from the Copa Oro? Is that what you're saying?
No. Well, that too, man. I didn't even think that far. I'm just saying we got this nice Confederaciones.
Let me blow your mind. Can I blow your mind?
Yeah.
I'm going to blow your mind. All right. So what if they combine the Club World Cup with the Confederations Cup and do 16 teams, where you have like the World Cup winner, the Eurocopa, all the continental winners, like 6 teams, and then 10 club teams, the Champions League winner. Teams.
Man, that would be a great crossover. I mean, but then you would have to say with some of the teams, like if you're Real Madrid, you're gonna be playing with Castilla because most of your players are gonna be with their national teams.
Well, that's the thing. Is if there's a conflict, then that's how would you settle that if there was a conflict? Because I mean, it's not gonna be like a World Cup where 19 of Real Madrid's 22 players are gonna be playing in the World Cup.
God dang, yeah.
Hey, Joel, I'm looking at a tweet right here from Univision Deportes that Supercopa MX and the Campeón de Campeones, that's going to be held in Carson, California on 14th of July. You should go for a press pass.
It's always in Carson.
Who is playing though? I mean,
Supercopa MX is Cruz Azul versus Necaxa. So you're probably going to see just one Necaxa fan there.
Hey.
And then the Campeón de Campeones is going to be America versus the champion of this season. So I don't know. I would go cover, man. I mean, you're going to have 2 pretty large fan bases, Cruz Azul
I skipped on the Chivas Veracruz one, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Joel, I feel like that is just, we have to, I mean, we have the show and you're out in LA, it's just, and it's not like it's that far from you. Because Carson is on the south side of town, man. It's not like we're asking you to go to Valencia.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Dang.
Come on, Joel.
No, Profe likes covering those games. He likes.
That's true. Profe does. We will simple. Where's Profe, man? I figured he would jump on after hearing the big news about the era.
He always comes in to sweep, man. He comes right when we're about to finish the show. Llega a barrer,
we're tired and our defenses are down, and he comes in and, well, you know how it is with Profe. He's like,
is that so? Who made you pope of this dump? Huh?
He just starts throwing his weight around like he owns the place. Good old Profe. Anyway, yeah. So the game last night. So I got to tell you, it is concerning for Tuca's legacy to see Tigres play so flat and have it in all 4 of these continental finals, all of them. They just haven't played well.
He's never
near what they should.
Yeah, that's never been his thing, and he came so close especially with the Libertadores, man. I felt that they should have been way more aggressive at the home at the home game at the
Right.
Volcan. And even Gallardo talked about how they were surprised, because they were expecting to get ransacked. And I think just
Like he goes back to who he was, which is the complete opposite of how his teams play now. And it was frankly it was very, as a fan of Tuca as I am, it was definitely I was
yeah,
rooting for him. I was last night. I mean,
because I would say that Libertadores final, that was like the one final where the Liga MX team were the favorites to win it.
right.
They just had a more stacked team than the River,
Which
and
which
which were
who
fortunate
would
to
have said
get to
that?
the
Who would have
final.
said that 20 years ago?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think he did drop the ball there. And I mean, we're just saying that because some of his players, because just how the game ended up turning out, very close game. If not, that's I think he's been cautious when it comes to those international finals.
Yeah, I mean, it just and to only play Gignac for 45 minutes. I mean, and
And he had Guignac at the Libertadores too, but
and
the
then
Frenchman had just arrived, so
yeah, and Joel, apparently Jurgen Damm played yesterday, but I didn't see Jurgen Damm do anything
he didn't do anything worth a
for
damn.
I mean, I don't even know if he even touched the ball for 45 minutes. He just completely disappeared. Just a complete waste of an outfield positional player, which is a real shame because Jurgen Damm is not usually like that. He may not be the flashiest of guys, and he has, his ball skills are just not very good for what he has to do. But every now and then he will put a good cross up, or he's good for like one good play game, and he just had nothing. Bupkis. So yeah, it was tough for Tigres fans and for Monterrey fans to finally Joel and Ron after two other finals of watching other teams lift the trophy in their brand new place, that they finally get to do it.
Yeah.
They finally get to do it in their shiny new house in front of their fans. And then they had a little parade today. And Rodolfo Pizarro did his little dance like he did when when he won trophies with Chivas. Rodolfo Pizarro, Joel, is another player. It's like, why on earth would Chivas let him go?
Well, because I heard that the team was having financial problems, so they just needed to recoup some money, and they were gonna, Monterrey was gonna pay him full. I heard that was one of the main reasons.
Well, Joel, if that's what you have to do to stay afloat in Liga MX as one of the quote big four teams in the league, then you have no business being in the big four if that's how your business is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is a team that had been taking a lot of financial hits because they did a lot of bad moves. Even the Chivas TV ended up costing them a lot of money. But here we are talking about Chivas again, man. We we we, we need to go into Tata Martino, some of his comments.
Don't you see, why does that happen? Why do you think that happens?
I just think because the team, the just it's like those reality shows. It's, and some of these people they do all type of stupid things, so it becomes entertaining.
Well, it is quite the novela. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's like a novela, man. It's all these things that happen. Chivas say anything that could go wrong at Chivas does go wrong.
They're like that one school in Boston Public, with the TV show Boston Public. Whatever was happening in public schools at that time, whatever event happened at Boston Public. So that's what's happening. Like whatever kind of mishap could happen to a soccer club, it's gonna happen to Chivas. The snake bit, Joel, is that what happened? Are they cursed? Is it the
No.
curse of De La
Well,
Torre?
yeah,
De La Torre involved? Well, then Chivas is.
well, yeah. With the De La Torre, they've always been successful.
Is it like
Campeonísimo and whatnot. So
is
yeah.
it like Melisandre? Is a De La Torre like the amulet that Melisandre wore
No,
that kept her young? And if
like
they don't have
Winter.
it, they're gonna die.
Sort of, but like Winterfell, when they says that there's always have to be a Winterfell in charge of. There's always has to be a Stark in charge of Winterfell. So similar. You
So
need
there always
a
has
De
to
La
be a De La
Torre.
Torre in charge of Chivas.
At least one in there. You don't have to be in charge, but at least coach, GM, or youth trainer, whatever. You just need one of those guys there
And you have a
to balance it out.
a barrendero.
A barrendero, masajista,
Yeah.
ball boy, whatever it is.
Podóloga.
Podóloga. Or podólogo, you know.
All right, so Tata Martino this week did the little rounds. He was in Atlanta, was up north in Dallas, talking up the friendlies that are coming up, and they asked him some questions about some of the players, Joel. And first of all, we mentioned Chucky Lozano, who was injured last week. Everyone, his knee buckled. They thought the worst. It looked like it was going to be a torn ACL, and fortunately for Chucky, it was not. And he's only going to be out for a month. I think it's crazy for Mexico to want to play him in the Gold Cup, and I don't think that he should play, period, especially with what's probably going to happen with him this summer. But there he was saying, well, we're going to take a look at him and see how he is. Who wins here? Because if Chucky is going to be like 70, 65, 70%, then someone's going to say, oh, he's going to be good enough to play. Would you play him, Joel?
No need to injure. Plus, it's a Gold Cup. Without due respect to the other clubs, this is Mexico's to lose. No, yeah, I wouldn't. There's more than enough talent to go around.
Save him for the qualifiers.
Yeah, save him for qualifiers. Let him consolidate. There's talk that Chucky might, once again, talks of him going to Serie A with Napoli. They've intensified again, so who knows? We'll know by the summer.
Yeah. I've heard more interesting clubs than that.
Oh.
So so we'll see how that turns out. I've heard English clubs are very interested too. So.
No. Right.
And they would pay between 40 and 50.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been expecting that.
So, yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And because of that, I just, like as you said, Joel, there's no point in risking further injury. Or not, having a relapse in his recovery process. I mean, take the summer off, man. You deserve it. Chucky is another guy who, since 2016, 17, 18, hasn't had a summer off yet. So give the guy, let him have a summer off.
Yeah, no need to burn him out. Let him concentrate on his club career, and it's Gold Cup. There's. Ron is still with Faitelson.
No.
Ron's laugh is like the Guasón from the old Batman shows.
No, this is from Sage. He posted a video.
Another video.
No.
God damn.
Yeah. No. He says no. He wrote "Atención banda," and I'm not even paying attention to what he has to say, but their comments. Pensé que era la segunda parte del video impresionante.
Mike is not gonna live that down ever, man.
It's not.
You still want to show me your cucumber?
Saga is gonna be more famous for that than for his club career.
We were just talking last week, Ron, how we hadn't heard that drop in like 6 months.
Which one?
Huh? Which one? This one.
You still want to show me your cucumber?
And you come on the show, and I've played it 3 times already. Like,
yeah, No, I think that's Saga's legacy now. Him showing
So it's not going to be the
his
9
witty.
goals he scored against.
No one remembers that.
St. Vincent.
The
St. Vincent.
17-goal tourney, none of that. It's just
I will say
Manguera.
Saga did score one, and outside of Netty's goal, I think one of the best goals in Mexico's Copa America campaigns. Jeez, help me out. Was it against Peru? And then the first one they played, 93, where he traps it with his chest. He's like falling backwards practically, and he just drills it with his just and sticks it right in the corner.
I remember his miss against Norway at the 94 World Cup. Right in front of the porteria. Just nothing to beat but that line.
All he had to do was just nudge it, and he's kicking it as hard as he can, and it hits the crossbar because he
was like a foot away from the porteria.
He chunked it.
It was harder to miss.
Yeah, it was.
It was harder to miss.
The only way to kick the ball to miss that shot was exactly what he did.
So you could do that play a million times, and
he could have stripped and fallen on his ass and still scored, and had not done what.
God dang, Ron still with Agus Manguera.
I wish our conversation was that funny. Hold on.
No. Okay. Saga he posts. I think him and his 2 kids, and they're basically posing because it's like the day of the International Day of Kids, children.
Yeah.
And it's Saga in the middle, and like he's facing. You're showing the backside, and his 2 kids also have the jersey because he just bought them an America jersey. Okay. And hold on, I'm trying to find that comment again. Hold on. Basically, the comment is like, the comment says, "Ya no les compres nada, con la riata heredada les debería de bastar."
God damn. Yeah, that guy's not. As long as he's in football, man. He would have to go live in Tibet.
What channel is Saga on? Is he like on Fox Sports or something?
What is it? No, he's on TV Azteca with Martinoli and
TV Azteca now.
Yeah, Saga could disappear for 30 years. Go live in a Buddhist temple in the Tibet, just meditating and sweeping, and when he returns, they're still gonna talk about his riata, man.
Yeah.
He's doomed for that.
I'm gonna retweet this one.
They're gonna ask him, "Is it true?" And he'll say, "I'll show you just enough to prove it."
Oh shit! Sorry, guys. Continue.
Get that.
Continue.
So Ron making us lose our sponsorships.
So
our
Chucky
PG-13 rating.
So Chucky's, in our opinion, Joel, and we both agree they probably should not play. I mean, this isn't a Copa America or and again, it's not that we're disrespecting the Gold Cup, but as you said, there's enough depth for this tournament.
Yeah, there's more than enough, and I don't really, outside of the U.S. I don't see no real serious rivals. Even the U.S.
Go ahead.
Well, even the U.S. at strength, they're still not as, because Mexico's overall still has more experience and players in going through a better moment, which is something we were talking about. Can some of these guys keep up, like Raúl Jiménez? Can they stay in that moment? And it looks like they are.
Well, the name that I'm thinking, Joel, to replace Chucky on the national team is a Chivas player who's enjoyed a bit of a renaissance.
I thought you were going to say Tecatito.
No, Tecatito. Well, we're talking about him in a second. But do I even have to? Oh, come on.
La Trophies?
You're going to make me say it.
Are you going to say La Trophies? Because I don't.
La Trophies, Joel. La Trophies.
Oh, man. He might. I don't know, man. I don't.
Hey, La Trophies has been. I mean, honestly, La Trophies. Who set up the winning goal there for Guadalajara?
It was Trophies, but I mean, I think Pizarro's gonna be one of the stars of the Gold Cup. I could see Pizarro finally getting his just due.
Yeah, Pizarro could be
Yes,
there.
sir.
So the other names that of the piece that I heard with Tata Martino and talking about players was he said Vela está contemplado al igual que Tecatito, ambos son contemplados. So he is hedging his bets with these guys. I don't think they're going to be on the team.
Yeah, I mean, well, with Vela, who knows? I think it's up to like, do you feel like playing this?
Right.
And Vela could be like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Probably throws a dart or something blindfolded. Yeah, but I mean, I would be huge if they have Vela just because the moment he's going through again, it's another player that's just doing really well right now.
Yeah, he's playing very.
He's about to break the record in MLS, I guess. He has like what 10 goals already, like in 5
He has
games
11. He has 11 goals. He has more goals than the Chivas strikers this season. All 5 of them.
combined.
Combined.
Man, yeah.
And they've played. I mean, obviously not 80 games, but let's give them 32 games. Two strikers in 16 games. Let's give them 32. So they've scored 8 goals in 32 games. The Chivas strikers.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Chivas. We're not talking about Chivas. We're not talking about Chivas. Yeah. So I just I feel like what I heard from Tata was that these guys are they might be considered, but we'll wait and see till the final list comes out. So I'm thinking they're not going to be on there. Now, he did say that there could be some players that we didn't look at the first time, that could have played their way on. So that has trophies written all over it. I mean, he should have just ended the suspense. Just said, he's La Trophies. He's the 4th best player in the world. He needs to be on the team. Yeah.
Well, it would be one of his last chances.
Oh, come on, he's only 23 or 24.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, well, maybe. I mean, last chances for this cycle. Who knows next? He might be a really late bloomer. But I just don't see him breaking into this current 11-man. Breaking into that 11-man starting lineup, much less being the 23.
The other player that he mentioned that he doesn't have a real any kind of certainty as far as his availability is Chicharito. So I don't expect Chicharito to play the Gold Cup either, because he's going to be with his
yeah, but who knows, man? They might be making plans to come to LAFC. So who knows? They might just be in LA, giving birth to Chicha Jr.
Chicha Jr. may want to be born in Guadalajara.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He did get married in San Diego, so a ver qué.
Yeah, but had the Mexico played in Charlotte, he would have gotten married in Charlotte. So let's not pretend like that San Diego was.
Yeah, but I think it was important that it be in the U.S. If it was in Calcutta or I don't know,
but she's
maybe
Australian and he's Mexican.
Some Pedro Sula, he probably would have said, not tonight.
Yeah. But one thing is for certain at that wedding, is that Daddy had a shotgun.
I think his parents had one. They're very religious.
Yeah, there were some shotguns stroked at that wedding ceremony for sure. No, so I Chicharito is another player who's probably on the low side of 50% as far as probability to play the Gold Cup. So that opens the door for some other possibilities. Who would those players be? Because Jimenez is going to be there. So has there been any Mexican player in Liga MX who has played well enough to warrant.
Macias.
But Macias is going to the U20. See,
Yeah.
again,
Oh, that's
another
right.
reason,
That's
another
right.
reason why the U20 is
That's
is just
right. I
ridiculous.
forgot it. I forgot. I forgot the closeness. The closeness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You do get a Henry Martin or another striker.
You know, Henry Martinez is a gamer. He comes up big in big games. Anyway, so there's Henry Martin. There's there's Alexis Vega, who
Who hasn't done anything though
scored 3 goals for Chivas
in
against
one
Atlas
game.
and hasn't been hurt since. You know, there's Alan Pulido.
Oh no, none of those guys, man.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Who else is there? I mean, who else is there?
Yeah, I do think Vela would play, or probably Chicharo. I do think they would come, just because it's in their best interest. They're in the twilight of their career, and that's just some nice coin. That's some nice coinage to have. Well, you don't want to turn that down.
Because it is kind of like bonus money.
Yeah, very nice bonus, plus patrocinios and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
it could be your last sandwich ad. So let's just get done with it.
Yeah, I think Chicharo's going to do TV. And I think Chicharo's going to do TV in English.
It's either that, before you get stuck working the fan fest, standing outside of the State Farm hut, right there for meet and greet. It must be embarrassing for some of these guys. Imagine having to stand there for 3 hours.
Wow. I could see, instead of Chicharo coming over to play in the U.S., Joel, I can see Chicharo coming over and doing TV in the U.S.
Could too, yeah. I mean, but you said in English?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he could do both, but I think that he would. I mean, he speaks
Mundos?
English.
Yeah, he does.
And yeah, so I would not be surprised to see him on maybe, like, you know, major
Spicy stalker.
major sporting event couches, studio couches, for rights holders.
Could be, but I think it'll be a few more years for that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, Yon, it's already my curfew. It's past my curfew.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, very quickly before I let you go, very quickly.
Yes.
Before we sign off here. Seven spots have already been sealed in Liga, so there's 7 that are already in.
Yes.
The last spot comes down to a match between Cholos and Puebla. So it's Cholos against Chelis.
Oh, man.
Cholos.
Yeah, tough one right there. Tough one. I'm gonna give the edge to Cholos.
So Cholos wins, and I think it's.
Wait, where is the game though? I need
it's
to
going
ask.
to be in Tijuana. Let me.
If it's at the Caliente, yes, I'll.
Have you been to the Caliente yet, Joel?
No, I have not. We were supposed to go a while back when our good friend Johnny Rico was working there.
Right.
He was doing press for the Choloquincles, and we were trying to go for a Liguilla game, and then we got caught up in some stuff, and then we ended up never going.
Yeah, it's in TJ.
Oh yeah, I give it to the dog. The dog's gonna bite.
So the stadium is next to the racetrack, which was it the Agua Caliente racetrack?
Yeah, I think that's why it was
Very famous racetrack.
Yeah.
Because I used to live, my neighborhood, Mexico City, was Lomas Hipódromo.
Oh.
Because we were right north of the Hipódromo de las Américas, and the street names in our neighborhood, we had Saratoga, which is a racetrack, Belmont, Jamaica, Santa Anita, and then we also had Agua Caliente. And I never knew where Agua Caliente was until I realized that it was a real famous racetrack in Tijuana. which I found out like 10 years ago. I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Had no idea. Anyway, very exciting story. And then lastly, Joel, I meant to ask you about Game of Thrones. Were you happy with the episode that we had, or did it make you sad? Are you done with the show? Has it jumped the shark?
Oh man, that's a 2-hour podcast right there, maybe 3. No, I feel the show it's its own thing, separate from the books.
Right.
They long ago separated. I feel that, but I did feel that the walkers, that should have been the final battle.
Right.
You know, I thought that Winterfell was gonna fall, and then some of the survivors were later gonna regroup, and then fight. You know, because there was still a few armies left.
I agree with you, Joel, on that. I don't think they did the White Walkers justice.
Yeah,
You build it up for just one battle.
Yeah, yeah, the whole season built.
Well, not just the whole season. I mean, the very first scenes of the
It is that, yeah,
series were the White Walkers.
yeah. Even in the book, it starts like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like you don't know anything about the Night King. You know, no conversation, nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, just because, and then I'm not too excited with the whole
I will say
Cersei and Euron.
the show, it's the episode itself from beginning to end was, white knuckler. There's no question.
Oh, it was edge of the seat stuff.
Right. But I mean, so just for that alone, it was unbelievably entertaining. I don't think any of us will.
There's no denying that. Yeah, there's no denying that. It is.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't stop watching.
There are so many things. I mean, I know it's a fantasy world, but just in the physical, rational world, just would never happen. As far as like military tactics and stuff, it just seems like that's the part that would drive me crazy.
It is, yeah. I agree with that. I felt like they did some of that stuff because it looked awesome, and I agree, it did. It looked awesome, all the swords going up in flame, and then later on, when they rush, you see them just being extinguished, But you know that with cavalry, you wouldn't do you wouldn't rush into the abyss without knowing what's up there.
Right.
Usually, you would attack from the sides. But yeah.
Exactly. Well, Joel, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's 9:30. It's past your bedtime there.
Well, no, I go to work actually.
Oh, I know.
Trabajar.
Ya ponte a trabajar, güey.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm headed, man.
Well, glad to have you on, Joel. We'll talk next week. We'll have Liguilla talk next week.
Yes, we will.
So we'll see how it plays out, and so we'll have that. And Ron. Before we let everyone go, we just very quickly, you had your thesis in architecture. You presented. Did you?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
Were you given a thumbs up or a thumbs down at the end of your presentation?
You're gonna have always, criticism and stuff like that. You just have to be able to defend it, and I thought I defended it.
So well. it's like chopped.
Yeah. That cooking show. I've never seen an episode, but I would assume so. But no, it's just sometimes they just criticize you, but you just.
Why did you use cilantro in that?
Yeah. So I mean, I just try to keep it to what I researched, and that's it. Some of the things were valid, some things weren't. In fact, I think that most things weren't because it wasn't related to my research. But yeah, that's a huge relief. I'm actually thinking going doctorate. Going for, pursuing a PhD, but I'm gonna put that on the back burner for at least 2 years. I need some time.
Well, congratulations. When do you receive your degree? At what point?
I think they'll mail it to me. I think in the summer. I think that's when they'll give them to you. You know, like official.
Right.
Once you graduate, I mean, they'll give you like a blank piece of, you know, like a little fake diploma and stuff like that. But
Right.
like the real one, I think comes like in like I think July or something like that.
So do you have to wear like some funky cap and gown to your ceremony?
I'm actually not going. I didn't even go to my college graduation.
It was a dark day for me, let me tell you.
You know, I don't know. I just you know, just another thing to do. You know, so like I just like don't really care. I got other stuff that I'd rather do. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm sure like for U of H, it's got to be because the school's so big. I mean, because mine, it was like a 3A high school.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, U of H back then was was big.
And
Still, I mean, it's
like 10,000 seniors.
yeah, it's gotten bigger now. It's gotten bigger, but no, I don't think if I recall, I don't think I went to my college graduation because I think I was out of town. I went out of town. I think I went to go visit my folks, if I'm not mistaken, and stuff like that. But like, actually, no, my folks did ask me if they wanted me if they did ask me if they wanted to fly down to go to my graduation. I said, don't even worry about it. You know, I'd rather go fly and visit them, and be with the family and stuff. But no, just like it's huge relief, That's why I haven't been, with you guys for almost going on a year now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like a dick joke free zone for
Yeah. No, I mean, it's no joke. I mean, this was basically for more than it was a 3-year program, but for I'd say the last year and a half. Wake up at 6, 7, and I'm in studio from basically 9 a.m. all the way till 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like nonstop, and that for the last 3 days, I didn't, I presented on Monday. I presented on Monday at 6 o'clock. Saturday, I took a nap. I think at 1 p.m. I woke up around 4 p.m. and then from that point on, I didn't sleep at all. Just making my models, my presentation boards, all that type of stuff. It was intense.
Well, amphetamines will do that to you.
Yeah. So
well, congratulations. I know it's something that's specialized like that. I mean, I can't even imagine, but I'm sure it's just a huge, like you said, just a huge weight lifted off your shoulders, and on top of it all, being an amazing accomplishment. It's just
yeah, no, thanks, John. It was really interesting. I learned a lot. Obviously, my research did on passive cooling. So there was just, like I said, it was just so. There's a lot of very, very interesting stuff that I learned. And what I set out to learn. But like I said, I do in the back of my mind, I kind of do want to pursue a PhD. But I need a rest. I need to recharge the batteries.
No, I understand that. So, well,
so more dick jokes and so more dick jokes now and more soccer for me.
I mean, I can't think of a better way to relax than coming up with a good dick joke and then watching some soccer games. So,
yeah.
Anyway, well, good to have you with us again, Ron, and looking forward to chatting with you moving forward through Liga and then also through the summer tournaments that we have coming up, because it's not just Gold Cup. We also have Copa America too, which will be very entertaining as it almost always is.
Yeah.
But for everyone, thank you very much for joining us here on the CantinaMX podcast. On behalf of Joel Aceves and Ron de Luna, my name is John Jagu, and we will talk to you guys again next week, Thursday nights at 9:30 Central. Talk to you guys later on. Thank you.
Thank you.